So, ready?
Ready.
Manuel, one of the key themes we've been hearing here at FutureCom is quality of service. The regulators are putting a lot of pressure on the mobile operators for quality of service. One of the presentations that Amdocs gave this week was on customer experience management. Could you maybe talk about some of the key drivers that you're seeing in terms of how carriers are measuring customer experience, and then the role Amdocs is playing to help them improve the quality of experience?
Right. First of all, for Amdocs, in Amdocs terminology, and the quality of service or customer experience is not new. We have been there many years, 4 or 5 years before. Everybody says it's a hot topic, so we know exactly what that means. As an important, for example, in CALA, what is in Latin America, the presentation, we did a survey asking these subscribers, what exactly means for them a good quality of service, and what that means a good customer experience, right? So we did this survey in April 13 among the most important countries in Latin America, right? And we asked them, well, if you are willing to share not your private information, but information that you are already sharing, for example, in Facebook, you do a like, or you do a check-in, or you are sharing that information anyway, right? And it seems sometimes that the OTTs are taking more advantage than the service providers, of that kind of information, right? And we asked them, are you okay? 80%, 82% says, I'm willing to share. I am okay to share that information. But in charge of what? What are you giving me back in return, right? And that was one of the key findings. I think, 74% in the present, they say, I'm willing to do that for you, but if you give me a better price plans, right? So if I can have perhaps better in data, or more in data, less on voice, something more related what I'm using, right? The second finding in this survey, more than 50%, they say, I'm willing to give that information if you can improvise the speed of the network. If I can give me a better experience while using the network, right? And that perfectly makes sense. I think, that if I'm using the network, if I'm a heavy user, data, emails, a lot, I would like to have that kind of treatment, personalized. Perhaps my mother that barely used the cell phone, for 2 or 3 things, it's different for her. So that I have not only a different plan, but also tell me what is important for in terms of the network. And then the third one was priority service. The third one was, okay, I'm not an anonymous guy in the network or a number. I want to call by name. I want to call so every time I call customer care, I don't need to identify myself, tell the same story all over and over and over, right? So I think that's kind of the key findings on the customer experience. What that means at the end of the day is our the subscriber base. Of course, there is a challenge of making prepaid to postpaid. Latin America, we have a high demand on the prepaid, high base of the prepaid. The key thing is how to move this prepaid into postpaid, right? How are we going to move this service or this quality of experience into a better? Not necessarily means that you have to be postpaid all the time, but have that flexibility that I can share that plan in multiple devices. And that was the last thing they think, well, I'm willing to share that information if I can move this balance that I left from my prepaid to watch a movie or to download a video what I do, in my room or whatever, right? So I think this is a trend, Jeff, that we have seen Latin America more going into convergence, quad play, talking. But of course, you have to consider the customer experience at the end of the day. It's seamless, right? So that's what I can tell.
And again, going back to the market here in Brazil, where quality of service is such a key issue, how does Amdocs help carriers define quality of service and make improvements on quality of service?
Well, quality of service is something that you have to have measures depending, of course, they have the regulator, but also not only going from the network to the last point, which is perhaps when you receive the billing, all right? Our philosophy is to be proactive. So you don't have to be fixing something until you receive the bill and say, "Oh, I didn't place this call to Japan. I never ever call or never use this." Right? Is the bill reduce the bill shock that we call, right? So in order to do that, we have systems from the network, from the customer care, for the self-service that do this proactive, take care of that kind of problem from the top down to bottom up. So the system knows exactly if something's wrong in the network or for some reason it's not working, how many customers are going to affect? Or if you do a small change, perhaps in a configuration on the self-care, what kind of devices are going to affect? And proactively know the customer, say, well, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. You know, don't be aware, don't wait until the end, say, well, bill shock or, terrible calls, right? So that's pretty much our approach, right? More proactive care. And we have a demo, by the way.
And the recent acquisition of Actix, how will that play into that quality of service and customer experience?
Right. Actix, the main part is for sitting the network to know what's going on in the network, what's happening inside of every single the package. We have Actix now as part of our revenue management portfolio. So it's really attached to our rating engine. It's really attached to our kind of plans. So also to our policy control. So with all the information is coming from the network, is start making a matrix or a plan of what we call big data, right? We call big data, but more about information of specific customer, what is his or her behavior in the network. So in order to take pretty much actions or take plans or take advantage or take incentives, for our rater to that particular subscriber.
Well, thank you again for your time, Manuel.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to see you here in Rio.
Yeah.